Welcome back, guys. It's El Tiburon, aka Retro Tiburon, with a short little podcast episode. We're reviewing The Exorcist Believer, and I've got with me here a friend of mine, Peter, aka PeetahMcfly. What's going on, Peter?
Not much. How are you?
Good, good. So I'm just for those of you that don't know that Peter, this is the first time he's been on one of my podcasts or slash YouTube videos. I met him through OfferUp. I don't think I've ever met anyone through OfferUp and stayed friends with him, but I met him through OfferUp because I bought some horror movies off of him. So very cool. We've kept in contact since then. I think it was like COVID. It was still like, I mean, we're
Yeah,
still kind of in COVID, but it was like deep in the heart of the quarantine, I believe, right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about The Exorcist Believer. So we're gonna get right into it. I went with one of my friends. He's not even a horror guy. So it was interesting to like hear his feedback because he doesn't really care. He just goes to movies, but he doesn't really care. And
Yeah,
he's like, "Man, that movie was so slow. Why was it so slow?" And I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe these like exorcism type of movies have like a slower burn. I mean, I know that the first one had like a very like
yeah.
build up, right?
It's funny because I walked out of it thinking the opposite, thinking this movie needed to be longer. Because the extras, it is a slow burn. The first one, if you look at it, it's like they're in, I think it's Iraq, right, in the beginning, and then from there you go to Georgetown, and then from there you get, you see Reagan's basically decline,
Yeah,
maybe like every 10 minutes. So I think this movie it falls under. I think it was sort of like chopped down for modern audiences to be more fast paced, and I think that was one of its downfalls. Not a
yeah.
deal breaker, like in the terms like all the movies trash, but I think that was one of its cons in the movie that it was a little too short for me.
It was what like an hour and 45, I think. Hour 45 minutes.
Because
Yeah.
the beginning started out pretty good. I'm like, okay, cool. They're giving like throwbacks to the first one in terms of like they're I think they were in Haiti in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there everything just felt sort of rushed. Like the
Yeah.
maybe like the second to third act felt really rushed.
Yeah. But did you like it? Or were you like that was a waste of time?
I liked it. Hey, this is someone who likes Exorcist too. The 70s. So I would, n- this one could have been just as bad, and I wouldn't have been scared off. But I liked it. I liked it.
Oh,
Looking,
that's
yeah, I'm looking forward to the other two. I'm kind of scared, but I'm looking forward to it.
oh, so this is gonna be a trilogy? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, when I walked out of it, like I was taking my friend's feedback and I was like, I liked it. I don't think this is one that I would like, like go back and I gotta get the 4K. Sometimes you leave like the theater and you're like, I gotta get the 4K when it
yeah.
comes out. Like I got it. That I didn't get that vibe. I was like, I saw it. I might not ever watch this again. Maybe like, but I didn't hate it. Like I thought it was fine. I liked it. I had a good time watching it.
I think we got in so many possession movies over the years, even like the last few years with The Conjuring. I'm not a big Conjuring person, but I know it has to deal with like possession, right? Like the first, I guess all three, right?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah. There's three. The last one I didn't like. The
yeah,
last
that
one.
one was. I think because it's changed directors, but also I saw the Pope's Exorcist, and then I saw I think Nefarious. I don't know if you've seen that one, but
No, never seen that one.
I think people are just used to possession movies now. So when Exorcist Believer came around, it's like, oh, we've seen this time and time again, type of thing.
That's another thing that I talked with my friend about because he's never seen the original Exorcist,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, "Well, you think about it, that movie back then, that was probably the first movie that ever came out like that. There was nothing like that as far as possession movie.
Yeah,
That was like a big shock
yeah.
to audiences, right?
Even now, when my boyfriend went to Catholic school, he didn't want to watch The Exorcist for the longest time. I sat him down to watch it.
Is it just because it's like, oh, it's like has to do with religion, so I don't want to watch that. Like,
I think it's both. Like the fact that when you go to Catholic school, that's like I would assume like the number one movie it's like forbidden to watch or sacrilegious to watch. So, but even then, he wasn't scared, but it was still like the shock like
Yeah.
the shock of the movie for especially having like Linda Blair such like at a young age do those scenes.
No, the cross scene,
Yeah,
the scene with the cross.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially that scene. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. I had a good time. It did remind me a lot of like the original, like some of the scenes. Like I think they even start off with like the dogs fighting on the island, and I was like, "Oh, that's like from the original." There's like those dogs fighting, right? They
yeah,
were
yeah. That was actually my favorite part of the movie was like the beginning because like it started out like I'm telling you I prefer a slow burner at least for this franchise. So when it started out slow and like they had like the dogs fighting and then um you had basically I forgot the father's name, but the main I think it was Odom, the actor.
yeah.
But I feel like you see sort of like callbacks to the first one with like single parent, just like Chris McNeil was with Reagan. And then I don't know if it was studio interference or whatnot, but I think the second half of the movie felt like a completely different movie than what it was starting out.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
kind of feel that. I think me too. I was enjoying like the build up, and I like the slow burn and how they wouldn't right away jump in with the jump scares and stuff. It was kind of like the slow transformation, kind of like the first one. Like you just see like the
Mhm.
slow transformation of Reagan. But yeah, then at the end, but part of me was like, I wonder if it's just all been done. That it's just hard. It's just hard to get scared now. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think another thing too, the fact that they're making this a trilogy is kind of weird because how can you stretch? I mean, there's obviously been Exorcist sequels, which were hit or miss, obviously, but I don't know how you could stretch out this one story into two more movies. That's why I'm really kind of curious to see what they do next because The Exorcist, in reality, it's a one and done type of
Yeah.
movie. Even though I like the sequels, good and bad, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna put it in the title, but spoilers. We're gonna talk about spoilers. There's gonna be spoilers here.
And I've been
Uh
holding myself back. I'm like, wait, do
no,
I?
the spoilers. Spoilers. I'll put it on the title so people know there's gonna be spoilers. So all right, so since you liked it, what were some of the things that you were like, that didn't jive well with me? Like they could have not had that, or they could have done this differently.
I'm gonna say maybe like the one thing that really not pissed me off there was some was what they did to Chris McNeil's character. I knew she was probably just gonna come back for like a cameo, but when Catherine, I think the name was of the other girl, when she gouged her eyes out with the cross, I was like,
The
oh
white girl, huh?
yeah, I
The
was like,
white
no, like I had a feeling she was either I knew something was gonna happen to her in the movie, I had that feeling, but I'm like, not as soon as you introduce her, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, I have a feeling that since she stuck around to the end, maybe she'll still be in the other two movies. But I mean, to do her character dirty like that, I'm like, yeah.
I was a little confused by that because okay, so they introduced the mom. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that the mom was gonna come out from
Um,
from the original. I didn't know that. I don't know if you were like tipped off about that.
oh yeah, well I saw the first trailer, so that was like for me like the selling point, the legacy character. But I don't know, I don't know. I think the amount of screen time she got was pretty bad. Even like the way she went out, because I know she didn't want to come back to do the movie.
Yeah.
So I heard that they offered her a bunch of money and started some like organization, or they helped her fund her some nonprofit or something she's running. It's like I can feel that, but still, it's like I don't know. If to me, David Gordon Green has that problem because I know like in Halloween Ends, he brought back legacy characters but didn't know what to do with them.
Okay, so you look, I'm known here for the podcast. I don't know shit about the actors, the director. So this guy directed the Halloween movies, the new Halloween
The
movies.
trilogy, yeah.
Oh, okay,
And I
okay.
noticed he has that issue with he'll bring back legacy characters just to like as fan service, but then he doesn't know what to do with them. And I feel like that's what happened in this one. Like, or at least for me, if you were gonna do that to her character, at least do it towards the end.
Yeah,
Well, unceremonious, like, okay, there, she's in the background now. Like, we brought
yeah.
her back. That's it.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, "Oh, I guess they're just gonna kill her off." But then she's just blind because she gets stabbed in the eyes with the cross.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I don't know about that, but I was like, well, whatever. Like whatever. I guess that's like a thing. But to me, I was like, I was still like, if I watch The Exorcist, that's like for me still a standalone. Like I don't even think I would want to be like, oh, this is like the timeline right here. Like to me,
Yeah.
I would still just watch Exorcist. That's The Exorcist, you know?
That's exactly how I felt too. Like I like doing like the whole choose your own timeline type of thing, like just for like horror marathons. But yeah, to me, at the first one, I could just watch it and not, I wouldn't cry if I didn't see like the other sequels after that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you didn't like that. Did you like? I mean, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. That when Rick Reagan comes out at the end.
I liked it. I know for sure she was another one didn't want to come back, but it was kind of obvious when they showed Chris McNeil alone in the hospital room. I had a feeling Linda Blair was gonna come back because I met Linda Blair about 3 weeks ago in Ontario at a horror convention, but you can tell she's just done with the whole
What
franchise.
what 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 convention was this? I didn't even hear about this.
It was called Horror IE Con.
Oh shit, I didn't hear about that. Okay.
I waited like 3.5 hours just to see her.
Oh, you know what? She's been at like the Monster Paloozas in the back in the past. And I remember one time she was there and it was like, but she doesn't want to talk about The Exorcist. She wants to talk about her nonprofit. I'm like, well, why the hell are you at a horror convention? Like, you're
Yeah,
fine taking the money, but then you don't want to talk about The Exorcist.
yeah, it's a boggles my mind. Like, okay, like I get it. Like maybe that's not what you want to be remembered for your whole life, but like you said, if you're going to a horror convention, like come on, that's like I don't know,
Yeah.
going to a convention about I don't know raising money for city funds, but I don't want to talk about the history of the city and what's going on. It's like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But I could tell I knew she was gonna come back in some form, and I had a feeling it was gonna be at the end, but it was okay. It was basically like a blink and not a blink and you miss it type of thing, but she just came and did one line and that was it. So
Check out that shirt for the audio listeners. He's got this Reagan with what's his name? Pazuzu. And
yeah,
behind that's a cool shirt. Is that a Halloween horror nights?
I think it was 20. I'm like checking the tagger here. I think it was 22, 20,
Yeah, that's a cool
22,
shirt.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's a cool shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
yeah. So I was gonna ask you, what weirded? I don't know because I have ADD. So sometimes I'm like, what's going on again? I'll get lost. I was like, so why did the mom of Reagan go and then she's like gonna go take the demon out of was it Catherine the white girl that gets possessed? Like, why was she in there? Like, is she now a priest or what's going on? Like,
That's what confused me too, because I thought she was gonna be some sort of like exorcist as well. So I was like, okay, this is different because she didn't witness the actual exorcism. They even addressed that in the movie, which I thought
she
was
says
weird.
that.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
she
she's
said.
like, I've never witnessed it. And then the next scene, she's in the room with one of the girls, and she's actually performing like her own type of
Yeah,
exorcism.
that's why
Like,
I was like, did I miss something? Like, is she now like the conjuring lady? Like, she now goes in and does that? Like, what's
those are the
going on?
vibes that I got for real. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
they
I don't know.
never said that, like, because I was like, did I miss? Did she say, "Oh, I do exorcisms now" or something?
She just says I believe she studied reported cases, if I'm not mistaken, and then she, I
Oh,
guess, studied um, not the ritual of how to do an exorcism, but I guess basically just like the history of like documented cases. But I don't know. I guess that's what I thought. Well, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, cool! She's gonna be sort of like an exorcist, and she's gonna join the priest and perform the
yeah,
exorcism." So then, when she went to like the room with that one girl, and then she just got like stabbed in the eyes immediately. So I'm like, okay, well that was pointless. I thought she was gonna be like in the whole movie type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess for me, like, if I were to say like what I didn't like, because I did like it. Like, I was like, oh, I got entertained. I had a good time eating my popcorn, drinking my Coke.
Hmm.
Like, but I was like, I'm like, I immediately sometimes I leave movies. Like I'm like I don't know if you saw the Super Mario Brothers movie, but I left it. I was like, oh, I need to get that 4K. I need to
Oh,
get that
that
4K.
was literally one of the things I said to my boyfriend. Man, this is like really good on 4K. Like I want to get it for sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then this one I was like, maybe if I find it for like $1 at like Dollar Tree, Blu-ray or
you probably will
Wall.
with the reviews it's getting.
Yeah. So now that you bring that up, like, um, reviews. I usually don't like to watch trailers or like read reviews because then I'm like I think sometimes I get influenced by that. Or
Mm,
sometimes movies get like so hyped up that I don't like that because then I'm like, ah man, it's getting super hyped. And then the sometimes the when you the experience or the movie doesn't like match the hype, right? Like the level of hype. So but I had been hearing like, oh, this movie's terrible, terrible reviews. And I was like, oh crap. Like so it was almost better because I was like, oh, low expectations. That I prefer that because then I'm not expecting a masterpiece, right? So
right.
it was getting trashed, right?
Yeah, I think also, um, I think it was just I don't know. I don't think it was as bad as Halloween Ends. I can
Yeah.
see like the hate the Halloween Ends got, but I don't know. Maybe, and I'm not being like an apologist for like the Exorcist franchise, even though I really like the good and bad sequels, but I didn't think it was deserved. I think people maybe since we just got Halloween Ends, there's still it's still like a bad taste in their mouths. Like, oh, like this dude's coming back to make the Exorcist now. Like I see like the critiques with this movie definitely, but I don't think it's like one of like the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't walk out of it like that. Like oh man, what a waste of time. There have been some movies that I've left. I'm sure you have too, where you're like, I can't believe I spent money on this shit.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. Leatherface, the last Leatherface movie that came out. I don't
Oh,
know if you saw that one.
yeah. For me it was maybe this is I know it has its fans now for some reason, but for me it's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Man, you know
And I
what?
wanted to turn it off. So I've never wanted to turn off a movie. I've watched it from beginning to end, but literally I'm just like, man, I need to turn this off already.
That might be a whole other
Like,
podcast that we might have to bring you back on.
the
Yeah,
whole kind of worms I just opened up, huh?
yeah, because I know that's like one of those polarizing movies, like those Halloween Rob Zombie ones. Like either people love them and think they're these are better than the Carpenter one, and they're better, but some people on the other side, hell no, those movies are trash, burn them, never speak
Yeah.
of 'em.
So now you
Yeah.
know next time you're gonna hear me. I'm on that side of the aisle with yeah.
All right, that's a foreshadowing future
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, so yeah, it got trashed. So what were people complaining about? Like, were the the same things we're bringing up, or what were they complaining about? Like,
I was sort of going through Rotten Tomatoes, and pretty much everyone just said it's like a lifeless sequel. I saw cash grab was like a uh, main word I saw. People were just saying it wasn't scary, which I was already expecting it not to be scary. To be honest, it had its scary moments in the beginning, but I think you know the first movie is just held in such high regard. It's like you have to sort of lower your expectations no matter what. It's not going to be as shocking because I think it's been 50 years. So like so many movies have come out since then where it's like shock factor, but that's pretty much what I saw. People just said it was just lifeless, like no point to make
just a
a
cash grab? Well,
requel. Yeah,
but that's like a thing, right? Like they're like, well, this is a franchise. Like, let's make them. It already has a built name. Like,
yeah,
let's just make a sequel. People will come watch it just because it's The Exorcist, right?
yeah. I think for me it was studio interference. I could see the director wanted one vision and then the studio wanted a different version. So I think they just mashed the two together.
Yeah.
At least that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, but I did like in watching it, I did like that well, I liked it that a lot of the stuff was kind of like almost like gave me vibes of the first one. Like it was almost like a modern take on the first one.
Yeah,
Like I didn't really see it like a sequel. To me it was like it's kind of like the first one but like for modern teens or something, for like younger the young generation now.
yeah, yeah,
Like even like like how the Catherine and I forgot the other girl's name, where they're like kind of like when the demons in them and they're like saying like shit that only the person knows, like, oh, your daughter or whatever, your daughter died and this and that, and then they're calling out the dad like, you chose my mom, you didn't even want me. And because
yeah,
it reminded me of, I kind of like that because it reminded me of like Father Karras in the first one, where like the demon saying like, your mom's in a whatever, and she's rotten in hell, and he's like, she's like giving it to him, like hitting
Yeah,
him where it hurts, and he it starts messing with him too, right? In the first
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Actually, yeah, I forgot about that part. That was another callback to the first one that I liked. I think also, I don't know, I think during the actual exorcism, like the double exorcism scene, I think I wanted more from that too. Um, I actually wanted more vulgarity from the girls. I think the first one, like, there's F bombs and all kinds of expletives that are dropped. So I think I wanted more from that
Yeah,
scene, something a little bit more shocking. I think that's for me where it fell flat. I think that's where it felt like a generic possession movie. The final act, I was expecting maybe more. I don't know, just more oomph. Like, I don't know. It was still good, but I mean, compared to the first one, they could have done way more. Maybe more practical effects or something more shocking.
yeah. But again, I don't know. I don't know if we're just jaded. Like we've just seen it all now. It's just hard. Let me ask, what was the last movie that legitimately scared you?
I'm gonna say not scared, but it had me on the edge of my seat. Was the Hills Have Eyes remake?
Oh, I haven't seen that one. That's
I
early
saw it.
2000s?
Yeah, I think I was maybe like a junior in high school when that came out. I remember I was home alone watching it. Um, and I think it was just like the fact that it could happen to anybody. You're out like in
Yeah.
some deserted place. I think that was the one movie where it didn't leave me scared, but it was like I was like on
Yeah.
the edge of my seat type of thing.
I haven't seen, I've never even seen the original.
The
I
original
mean,
is not that good in my opinion.
no?
No, it's Wes Craven directed it, but I think the remakes, or that's like a rare case where the remakes actually a little better.
All right, good to know. I think for me it was the Conjuring. That one kind of scared me. That movie.
Yeah,
The Grudge and The Conjuring, I think, were the last ones that kind of gave me the creeps.
Conjuring was a good one. The first two,
Yeah.
The Grudge. I like the original one, the Japanese one.
See, I've never seen that one. That was
Yeah.
my. I
Uh,
talked about it on an episode that's coming out soon because we ranked our favorite 2000s, early 2000s horror movies, and I was like, that was my introduction to like that Japanese spooky Japanese
yeah.
kids horror movies, and I was like, what is this? This is scary as hell.
It's funny because I went on a binge afterwards too, like because the Grudge was my first like gateway into like J horror, and then I didn't know that there were remakes of the Japanese version, so then I started watching the Grudge, the original Ring, and then I think it was Pulse was another one if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. So
Yeah, there's a lot of
Ju-on is
new one. Yeah,
and
yeah,
then there's Ringu, I think is
Ringu, yeah, yeah,
yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else that we're missing? We talked about our cons. Oh, okay, like likes. Because we did say we liked it. What
yeah.
were like your main, if you were to name one or two likes or three likes that you liked about this movie?
Definitely the beginning. Like I said, there was a lot of throwbacks. Um, I think the main actor, the dad, I think it was. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember his name.
he was good.
He was
Yeah.
a good actor. I do like the neighbor as well, the nurse. I thought her character was pretty well fleshed out. Um, I don't know. I don't even think maybe this is a. I wish this is probably going back to the cons, but I wish the legacy characters would have been better utilized. Um, I'm trying to think of one more positive, and I'm trying to like. So I'm just like I like the movie, but let me think of one more positive. I mean, I thought the pacing was good in certain parts, minus the ending. So I think maybe like the last 30 minutes were not my
Yeah.
favorite, but I think overall the movie was pretty good. Um, I like the way you see the dad as a single. He's a single dad, and then you see his pain after losing his wife, thinking like, oh shit, I might lose my daughter too. So I really like that character arc of his.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I like the dad. I kind of like that he was also like I don't know if he was like atheist or agnostic, but he wasn't a believer, like
it's funny you
about
bring that up because that's I think another callback from the first movie because Chris McNeil, I think they asked from the first like, "Are you religious?" and she said no. And then I remember there was a scene where even to this day I don't know who did it, but there was a cross in Regan's room, and then she
Mhm.
went around telling like the housekeeper like, "Piss, like who left this in her room?" And then on that scene when the nurse questions the dad, like, "Oh, you don't believe in God?" So I think that was like a throwback to the mom's character where she wasn't religious and she used, she had to get an exorcism as like a last resort type of thing when medicine wasn't working, psychiatry wasn't working. So I think that was a good callback to the first one as well.
Damn, I didn't even remember that from the first one. Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I think like what you said, I kind of like the slow build, how they're building, how they didn't like rush right into like the scares, like it was slowly building and you get to see their transformation. I like the callback stuff I like because I was like, oh, it kind of reminds me of The Exorcist, but like just so that's why I was like, well, maybe it's for like modern people, like younger people now. That's what it's for. That's who it's for. This is going to be their Exorcist, maybe, you know?
I think
It,
that's a good and bad thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not gonna say it was dumbed down in the end, but I think this movie fell under. I don't know if you remember Exorcist 3. The director basically didn't want an exorcism at all in the movie. He wanted to be more of like a suspenseful type of crime slash police drama. And then I know that Warner Brothers made him basically put an exorcism scene at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's why when people watch it, they say, "Oh, this feels like it was just added on last minute." Which I think the final act is really like the movie itself is really good, part three. But I think the final act actually did give it like that pushed
Yeah.
bumped it up a couple notches. So I think that's what happened with this one. I feel like the director probably wanted to have, like I said, a slow burn type of movie, and the studio was like, "Well, we're running at like an hour and a half now, so you gotta like hurry it up," type of thing.
Hurry it up.
Yeah,
That it's kind of weird because then there's movies that are like, damn, this movie's 2.5 hours, 3 hours long. Most movies are like now over 2 hours. I don't think I really go to the theater and see something shorter than 2 hours anymore.
yeah. No, I
That's kind
wanted
of
more. The fact that you have two girls, I'm like, I think that was another thing where I think they gave more attention to Angela, the main girl, and then Catherine was like sort of a
she
disposable
looked she
character.
kind of looked like Reagan a little bit.
That's
I'm
what,
sure
like, yeah, yeah. That's what I
that
got too.
that was intentional, I'm guessing. Like they
I'm
wanted
pretty
to.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I also I did like so I like the build up. I did like the characters. I just thought like that yeah, like you said, the last part, I that's the thing I was like, man, this is kind of dragging on too long. Like just that last when
Mm,
they're trying to extract the demons out of him, like it's kind of like, all right, already, like kind of going. I think I would have preferred more story
yeah.
and a shorter like last part where they're extracting the demons.
I think another thing too, the fact that there was like so many, like you had the priest, you had a reverend, and you had, I guess she was like a doctor from maybe Haiti. I think that's the part where I missed. I think she was like referred by someone.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
was like
I
a
think, yeah, there you
spiritual
go.
person. Yeah.
I think that was one of the downfalls because in the first movie you have Father Marin and Father Karras, and then like you see their backstories. You see Father Karras lose his faith as a priest, and then you see Father Marin. Well, he wasn't in the movie for that long, but you pretty much, you have an older priest and then a younger priest, and then like the younger priest is weaker, and then the older priest has to step up to the plate. But you see like their
Yeah.
character arcs, and in this one, I think there was no. I know it wasn't meant to be about like the religious leaders, but I think they just showed up at randomly, like,
You
okay,
think it
well,
was like too many cooks in
yeah,
the kitchen? Like
yeah, for sure.
Cause I got confused. I was like, "Is that man his boxing coach that's in there too?" Was that was
Yeah,
that?
like his neighbor, like his gym buddy or something. I was like, okay, like,
They should have had like we're you're Mexican, right? You're Mexican
yeah,
or we're Mexican American. They should have had like a lady with a huevo and 7 Up and a
might
rosary
as
and
well. I know everyone said it was like the religious Avengers that were there, all those toxic people in there. Yeah,
a
yeah.
funny way to look at it.
I
All
would
right.
I would have
What?
just had the nurse, the neighbor,
Oh
just
yeah.
be like the main exorcist. And I
Yeah,
think,
because I was like, man, she came in and was like, I got this. And I'm
yeah,
like, where's the father? And he was in the car just
yeah.
yeah. All right. So as we wrap up, how many I'm gonna put you on the spot. How many crosses to the eyes out of 5 do you give it?
You said out of five,
Yeah.
I would say three.
Yeah, I think I'm like a two. I'm gonna use a decimal, like 2.75. I was like fine with it. I liked it, but I'm like, yeah, not one that I'm a hunt down. It
Yeah,
didn't give me that feeling. Like it was fine.
yeah. I'm an apologist, so I give it a three. That's me being generous.
Yeah. Okay. And then before you go, rank the Exorcist movies. I even forget how many there are. Where does this one fall? Rank them right now from one through whatever. How many are there? Five or six?
Damn, let me see.
There's one, two, three. Then there was an early 2000s one, right?
There was two versions of that one, if you want to count that. So there was Rennie Harlin's version, and then there was, I think it was Paul Schrader who
I don't
was like,
remember which one I saw. I think I saw one that was like 2002 or three around there. It was like a prequel, I think, wasn't
yeah.
it?
I'm pretty sure you saw the theatrical version because
Yeah.
the original director's version came out maybe like a year after that, but it didn't really like get a lot of fanfare. I know people prefer that one, but I haven't come
But is
around to
that a separate movie or it's just a different cut of the first one?
sort of. It's sort of both. So I think it follows the main. I mean, say it's kind of like the same type of storyline, but I know certain characters were switched up in the original version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All right, so if you want to add it as a separate one, you can go ahead. But we're rank them right now,
All right. I
best
won't
to
say because I
worst.
haven't seen it, so I'll just do the one I have seen.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay. So in my top spot will be the original Exorcist, of course. Second spot, definitely Exorcist 3. Uh, third spot, dang, I'd probably give it to the prequel. Fourth spot, I'd probably give it to Exorcist Believer. And then last spot, I'd have to say Exorcist 2. And I like that movie.
damn.
I'm a
Okay,
very, very small minority, but I think the movie's just so bad it's good. But that would be my ranking right there.
all right, cool. Well, so it's not your last. It's not the last pick. The Believer. It's and but you said you like all the movies, so I'm
Yeah.
sure you go from love to like
Yeah.
in your rank.
Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
I think for
Yeah.
me, yeah, the first one. Like I hadn't seen it since I was probably in my teens, but I remember that was the first movie that it was the movie you gotta see if you want to get scared. Like that.
Yeah.
I remember even watching this one with like my parents. I don't know why the hell they had me watching this movie. I was like six, but like my aunt was there, and then there's like a jump scare with Reagan, and she threw herself back so hard that her chair broke and she fell like I always remember that she like fell on the ground.
It's
Uh,
funny because this is the movie where everyone said as a kid, do not watch it. So that made you want to watch it even more. You know what I mean?
yeah, so I was
Yeah.
like probably like this, like watching like in the background. So that one come on, and but I saw it like recently
Mhm.
for like a podcast episode, and I was like, man, this is better than not because now I understand more of what's happening. When I was a kid, I didn't know what the hell like a lot of the stuff going on was. But now I'm like, man, this movie is like just like a good scary movie.
Yeah. The
Like,
first time I saw it was a re release in theaters. I was like
oh,
in
okay,
sixth
early two
grade.
thousands, right? Where they added the spider walk, like the
Yeah.
spider walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first one, I think I don't really. I saw part three in the theater, and I was also like eight, I think. So I don't remember like really anything about it. So I would probably go one, the original, then the prequel. I kind of like. I remember liking that one, the prequel, and then I'll probably go Believer 3, and only because I don't remember 3 that well. Then 3, and then the part 2 because I don't really remember that one either. We're out
No.
here in LA, so I don't know if I know that channel. What is it, KTLA? Or I would
Yeah.
sometimes see it like it was playing on there, like on a Saturday night, and I would be like, "What's up with this movie? Why is she like she was like in a fever dream or something?"
Yeah. I remember, well, that movie, if you watch it, I bought the Blu-ray a few years ago, but if you watch it with the I think it was not the director, I think it was a cinematographer, but basically each scene he'll break down like, oh, we filmed this in a certain way to reflect this. So if you watch the movie with commentary, it'll make a lot more sense, even though if you have to explain your movie to people, then something's not right. but it made me appreciate the movie a little more. But I could see why it got
Yeah.
shitted on so badly, of course. But
I don't think I've ever seen it. I've just seen it, like I said, on KTLA on a Saturday night, just in the background. I'm like, this
yeah,
isn't The Exorcist. What is this?
I think the first time I saw it was dang, when VHS was still a thing. I remember I would just have like a phase where I wanted to explore other horror, and then I would just go to the video store and like, okay, let's tackle this franchise. And I remember seeing it. I think I was maybe like in middle school or something. Like I remember like it being a bad movie, but then I was like, oh, for some reason I kind of like this. Like it's just like everything was good. Like the set design for me was like really good in that movie. I like the soundtrack. Um, I don't know, something about it just stuck with me, even though it's like a. I mean, it sucks like to say like a piece of shit movie, but it's for me it has redeeming qualities. When you
Mm,
see the angle what they were going for, you know what I mean?
I gotta check. I gotta watch that one again. And
But you have to watch the third one for sure.
yeah, I need to. Yeah, have it on Blu-ray because one of my friends was like, "Oh man, it's so good," and I was like, "You know what? I saw it when I was 8 in the theater, so I don't remember like it clicking with me." But I'm like, I think now if I watch it, I'm older now. Maybe I'll appreciate it. So I
It's funny
gotta.
because that movie I've watched it maybe like 10 times, and I still
Yeah.
see
Whoa.
it like with no distractions. And I think you'll really I think it'll go higher in your ranking for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
check it. I have the Blu-ray. I think it's like the Scream Factory one. So I
Oh,
need to
okay.
check it.
One I know.
Um, all right. So yeah, thanks for coming on the episode. Hopefully in the future we can do other like reviews or something. You can be like one of my horror guys, that can come
Yeah,
on
for
here and
sure.
talk horror movies. Why don't you, if you, I don't know if you have anything you want to plug, anything you want to give a shout out or something.
Yeah, if people want to follow me on my socials, it's PeetahMcfly. It's PeetahMcfly.
Yeah, and I'll drop for the audio listeners. I'll put a link to his stuff on the show notes of the podcast episode. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there, right under the Pazuzu. That's his his handle right there. But I'll put it in the description too. Also, you don't want to show off. I've been telling Peter,
Yeah,
you gotta like do some videos where you're showing off like he does customizations.
it's
Like
still
he
in progress, but
so so yeah, you've done like you've bought masks from Wish, like Jason Voorhees, and you'll transform them into like it looks like a studio quality almost mask.
yeah,
Like
the Roy mask.
oh, you have it right there. Look at that. That started off as a Wish mask, right? Like a blank Wish mask.
Yeah, this was like quarantine days. Okay.
So I was telling Peter, man, you got to do like a YouTube, like a to like showing people like this is how you can transform. That this is how you can like customize on a budget. Make your
Yeah,
own like stuff. Like I don't have the skills or the creativity for that, but
dude, I don't have the skills either, but you'd be surprised what boredom does to you sometimes.
yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, as for me, I'm Retro Tiburon on all the social medias. If you wanna buy a mug, buy a shirt, something, retrotiburon.com. Also, all the podcast episodes are archived on retrotiburon.com. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're gonna get going. You got any final words? Anything you wanna, any quotes?
This is not directed to you, but your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Let's hear it. What was your quote?
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Holy crap! All right, well, I don't know if you heard that, but we can't we can't top that. See you guys. See you guys on the other side.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.